Hey guys, welcome back. It's Shanti from LiveByCode. Today we will be solving the problem number 01 on Leetcode, which is the two-sum problem. This problem is marked easy on Leetcode, but is a little tricky to get the optimal solution. It has been frequently asked by a lot of companies including Google, Facebook, Amazon, LinkedIn, and Microsoft. So let's get started. Before starting, I would like to say that this video is being divided into 4 different parts. The first one is understanding the problem, followed by whiteboard approach, then code the solution and questions to ask to the interviewer if you get this question. So let's get started with the whiteboard approach now. The problem says, given an array of integers, return indices of the two numbers such that they add up to a specific target. You may assume that each input would have exactly one solution, and you may not use the same element twice. Which means, in our given example, we have an array with 2, 7, 11, and 15. And the corresponding indices will be 0, 1, 2, and 3. And our target is 9. Usually we can say that 9, as per the array items, is formed by the sum of 2 plus 7, and the required indexes of each item is 0 and 1. So our output should be 0 and 1. There are many ways to do this problem, but first we will start with our brute force approach. In the brute force approach, we can say that we might not end up with an optimal solution. That is, there is possibility to have a solution with not optimal space and time complexity. But we can see how we can achieve it. So this is our nums array. The idea behind is that we can solve the problem and we can then try to optimize it by thinking of another way to do the same problem. So in brute force approach, what we will do that we will start with the first element of the array. For example, here the first element of the array is 2, and then we will iterate the rest of the array to find if the sum is equals to 9. So for example, for 2, I will iterate first 7. I will try to find if 2 plus 7 is equals to 9 or not. It's 9. So I will return the result of index arrays 0 and 1. For example, if we don't have the solution at the first place, so we have to iterate at the end of the array. So for 2, we have to first check with 7, then we have to check with 11, and then we have to check with 15, and so on. Same, the idea is to iterate for each individual array element. So for 7, we have to iterate over 11 and to 15, and so on. The solution is not the optimal solution because here we are iterating over each and every array element twice. So let's have the boot code here to understand what exactly the algorithm will look like. As explained, so our first loop will be for int I equals to 0, for int less than nums length and I plus plus. Then we will iterate starting from the next element of the array until the array ends. So j equals to I plus 1, j is less than nums dot length and j plus plus. Now here we will find the difference. So we will create a variable name in difference where the difference will be target minus nums of I. And then we have to find if the difference exists for each j element in the loop. So we will do if nums of j is equals to our difference, then we will return a new array with the value of the indices, which is I and j, because we have found our result. At the end of the loop, if we didn't find the result, then either we can either we can return either we can return null, or we can throw an exception. It depends on the need of the interviewer, what he is waiting for, or you can ask these kind of questions to the interviewer. If we have to calculate here the complexity, so if we talk about the time complexity of this algorithm will be, since we will be iterating for loop for until the n nums length, which is like n, so it will be n multiplied by for another for loop, so worst case will be n minus 1, so it's almost n, so it will be big O of n square, which is huge. If we talk about space complexity, then this is a constant space where we will be saving our difference and then returning it, so it will be like 0 of 1. Now let's move on how we can optimize our solution. So the second approach is our optimal solution, and in this we will be thinking of another way to implement the algo so that we get optimal time and space complexity if possible, but in most of the cases we focus on time complexity should be optimal. So the another idea behind is that why not we use dictionary, because it's easy to traverse in the dictionary and to get the values and to find if the difference exists in the dictionary or not. So I will be explaining with you by writing the algo here for better understanding. So first we create a dictionary. To note that dictionary is in hash map is equal to the hash map in Java. So I would like you guys that if you will be coding in another language, then be clear with the concepts and the basics that which data structure can be used in another language. So here we will be creating a dictionary, dict, which will be new dictionary int and int. To note here that this is our key and this is for our value. The idea behind is that in key we will be saving or stocking our nums, which is nums value or item, and in value we'll be stocking the nums index corresponding to the item. Now how we can proceed? So for every element in the array, we will be calculating our difference, which was like target minus nums of I. Then we will be verifying if our dictionary contains the key, that is the difference. If it contains the key, then well enough, we can directly return the int array with the indices, which will be the value of the key diff and I. If not, then in all other cases we will be adding the values into the dictionary. So here, to understand with a small example, I would like to share with you guys. So here, if we calculate our difference, then our target is 9 and nums of I for I equals to 0, nums of 0, which is 9 minus of 2, which is 7. So initially our dictionary is empty. So if we go through this, dict contain diff? No. So we will add in our dictionary. So our dictionary at position 0 has value 7. Yeah, just let me recheck. Sorry, has value 2. Then we will again go in the loop, and now I is 1. We will again calculate the difference, which is 9 minus nums of 1, which is 9 minus 7, which is equals to 2. And we will try to find if this contained in dictionary. Yes, it's contained in dictionary. We have lastly stocked it in the dictionary. So what we will do, we will return the values of indices. So the indices values are values of indices, which are dict of diff, which is index 0, and the current value of I, which is index 1. So this is our answer. Let's check about the complexity. So the time complexity here will be equal to the for loop, which is like running end of the length, so which will be big O of n. For the space complexity here, we can say that we have one space for O of 1 for the difference, and in the worst case the dictionary can be of length O of n, so it's O of 1 plus O of n, which is O of n. But if, as I said earlier, that time complexity matters a lot, so here as per our solution, O of n is the optimal solution compared to the brute force solution we have discussed earlier. So let's code this on Leetcode and find how it goes with different cases. So since I will be coding for C#, so as we have discussed earlier, let's create our dictionary of int comma int of dict is equals to new of dictionary int comma int. So we will just add comments so it's more clear. Create dictionary with unique key as nums, that is the array element, and values as corresponding index of the item. Okay, we are good here. Okay, we are good here, so I think there's no need of writing that. Okay, then we'll be doing our loop for int I is equals to 0, then I is less than nums dot length I plus plus, and in this we will be calculating our diff, which is target minus nums of I, and as explained we will be verifying if dictionary contains key, which is our difference, then we will be returning new of int array with the corresponding indices, which is dict of diff and I. If not, then we will be adding this element in the dictionary with the value of nums of I and with key as nums of I and index as I. And if we don't find any solution, then we can, for example, here I can return an null or something else, or throw an exception as you want. Let's check this code if it works or not. So I'm just running the code. Well, so they have tested and it works. So we have got our expected output of 0 and 1. Now let's dig a bit more into it with the edge cases, or how we can ameliorate this algorithm which we have created. So as per the edge cases, for me, it would be great to check if, so these are the edge cases, and here we'll be checking if nums.length is equals to 0, then return null, because we don't want it. So this is the only edge case which I can see for the moment. And the other thing is if there are duplicates in our array. So since they have noted that there should be exactly one solution, so we can't have also they have noted that you may not use the same element twice. So if in our array there are duplicate elements, then we should not be adding them to the dictionary. So we will add a condition here: if our dictionary doesn't contains key, which is our nums of I, then only we will be adding the value. So it's to avoid the duplicate values, as they have asked us that we shouldn't be using the same element twice. So let's run again. Oh, cool, it worked. Now let's submit the code and have another statistics, what they are saying about the runtime or other things. Oh, cool. So if you see the runtime, then the runtime of our code is 248 milliseconds, which is faster than 69% of the C# online submissions. So according to me, this is it. This is the optimal solution which we can get for this easy twosome problem. As I have told you guys earlier, that I will be sharing with you guys tips or the questions to ask to get an idea of other solution in mind, or how to interact with the interior, which is a really necessary point. So for this problem, the first question you can ask is the array sorted or not? Because you might have another idea. If the array is sorted, then maybe it's easy to do the random calculations, or maybe you have any thought process in your mind, because since it's an array, it's good to browse the questions. Second question you can ask, that does it has or can it have duplicate values? Because in the example they have said that you can't use same element twice, but this doesn't mean that it can't have duplicate values. So you have to take into account, does it have duplicate values or not? And then here it's mentioned that it would have exactly one solution, but you can, if it's not mentioned, then you can ask that is it possible to have multiple solutions. Also, you should ask what you should return if no match is found. For example, here I'm returning null, but you can throw an exception or any other thing which the interviewer wants you to return. So the idea is it's good to interact as much as possible with the interviewer, or also note that you should be writing the edge cases because it gives a like a good start, a bon start in like French, a good start to your processing skills or solving skills. And also it would be great for interviewer to understand if you add more comments and you talk while explaining your code. So please keep that in mind, that writing proper code, good code, well-styled code, using the names well, descriptive enough, adding the comments, and doesn't just directly attacking on a solution which might be not be the optimal solution, are the key points to ace an interview. So before uh, ending the session, just I want to thank you for watching this video, and don't forget to like, subscribe and share with your friends if you liked it, and I will be waiting for your comments if you can. So see you in my next video with different coding problems. We will be writing the code in C# and we'll be practicing for the different questions asked by the interviewers. And if you have any specific questions, you can ask me anything on that. I will try to give you response as soon as possible. Have a nice day. Namaste.